Welcome to the Dance Studio Empire Podcast Business Series. This podcast is about building your studio empire, whatever that is for you, whether you're just getting started or striving to hit the elusive $1 million mark. This business series will give you the confidence and know-how you need to transform your studio and give you the business you've always wanted. So sit back and get ready to build your dance studio empire. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this week's episode of the Dance Studio Empire podcast. And today I have some really exciting things ahead. I'm really one of my good friends who, if you are a listener of my podcast, would have heard her before. I talk about her often. She's not only a good friend, but also a member of our Align Mastermind group and has kindly offered to come on and just have a chat with me about it. So she can let you know her experiences, and I'll ask her some questions, and hopefully you will be as entertained as I am every time I do speak to my good friend, Claire O'Shea. Thank you so much for being on today.
I am so excited. I love listening to your podcast and get a weird, egotistical kick when I hear you refer to me.
Perfect. Hey, if that's all if that's all my job is in your life, then I'm happy. I'm achieving it. So that's really good. Okay. Look, well, first of all, let's, if you don't mind, introducing yourself, and if you could tell us a bit about your studio, and more importantly, where you were before you joined the mastermind. So, some of your biggest, I say challenges, not necessarily negative. You might actually have more, you were facing some questions back 12 months ago. I'd love for you to tell us a bit more.
So my studio at the moment is, in the last 8 months, has been in a really huge growth phase, which is super exciting. And obviously very, very thankful and grateful, but it also comes with a big other group of challenges that I anticipated but couldn't identify specifically. So last year, at the middle of the year, I bought my childhood dance studio, which was very exciting. So I sort of instantly almost doubled to a degree, maybe not like a thirded more. That's not correct English. And then at the end of last year, I also purchased school locations. So whilst it wasn't a lease and I wasn't taking over a building, I purchased the client list and the locations from where they were running from. So again, that was a massive influx. And then as a result, we've launched in another school location. So now we're in 8 locations altogether and looking to grow more. My admin team has had to expand to keep up with that. We, again, even though I said we thirded, that's not a word, but since sort of middle of last year, we've now doubled essentially, and which is fantastic for a variety of reasons. But again, it has a lot of other challenges that I didn't anticipate. So when Jen, I talk to Jen all the time anyway, but when Jen was talking about starting the Align Mastermind, selfishly, I was wanting her to create something that would be really great for me. And so I said, I'd been a part of generic kind of masterminds and business groups in the past, which again come with their positives. There's people from all different industries, which is really interesting, but sometimes they just don't understand. Well, they don't understand what it's like to have a dance studio, which is such a weirdly specific thing to do. And then other groups I've been a part of, which have also been great, there was such a wide variety of dance studio owners and the sort of position they were in, which is lovely. But I found it hard to get a lot out of every call or everything, because everyone is in such different positions, where I feel like how Jen streamlined it to be either sort of length of time in the industry or amount of students. It just sort of allows you to kind of really niche down with other like-minded people, which I have found to be what I was looking for anyway, if that's a long, convoluted answer to your question.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we talk about this a lot of the time. When you get to a certain size in your studio or have been in for a certain amount of time, the conversations are just different. And what you are wanting to know versus what someone who's, freshly into the industry wants to know is quite different. And I feel like there's a lot of support for those who are starting out or been in a couple of years and looking for that first and really important foundational stuff. Definitely important. But what about those who are ready to really step into their next level and exceed where they are? And because it happens so much more rapidly, I think once you get to a certain level, and it's the conversations that I know for myself, that's what I was really missing. And that's where I'm like, well, if I'm missing those type of conversations, surely there's other people who are ready to step into this next level. And the conversations, I think, between our group when we're all online together, it's so powerful. Like just the sharing of information, the sharing of challenges, and then everybody is interjecting with ideas. And yeah, it's something that it's hard to describe in words, I think, until you're actually in a room like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, is
It's
that
more
what you
that,
felt?
yeah, it's just like it's a focus group. And even when you don't, like, we might not have a call that week. Like for instance, we had to learn how to use WhatsApp because I honestly didn't even know that we had a group for a while. So I'm on that now. And even sometimes I just get like, it's not even a huge thing. It's not a massive problem. It's just like, I'm like thinking about, like I was talking to the group the other week about sort of potentially restructuring my admin team to kind of let them focus more on the areas they were like interested in, and like, should I get a new person for this? And it was just sort of like, I wasn't exactly sure what the right path was. And I just sort of had like this obstruction. I couldn't see how it was going to function and work. So I couldn't take action steps to move it forward. But even like I put in the big question and I think someone answered and I straight away was like, oh no, that won't work for me. Um, Sounds negative, but it actually that helped me thinking, oh, well, this was one thing. Oh, that's not going to work. It kind of then opened the next step for me. What I actually thought was going to work better. So, just having just a group of people be able to even just bounce ideas off and move you forward. And I think, um, for a time, a couple of years ago, I wasn't sure whether I was just wanting to, you know, sort of have my one dance studio and manage that. Everything was going really smoothly. And then focus more on the sort of the online world with like coaching and everything. So I really enjoy doing that as well. But for me, I don't know, I just sort of got this, it just sort of started happening. There was opportunities in front of me and I decided taking them. And now sort of, again, like what Jen talked about, sort of hoping to kind of move into like empire status and have, hopefully one of the biggest and best studios in Queensland, if not Australia.
Well, you are definitely on your way. Yeah, it's been incredible actually watching your journey, which, will no doubt be shared across, if people want to follow you, they can absolutely do that. And it's worth it. I advise people to do that. Um, Now, how has being part of the mastermind affected your personal growth? So both as a business owner, but also as a leader in your studio.
Well, I really, like I mentioned, I really enjoy the group calls. They're great because it's sort of like input from multiple people when we do our sort of hot seats. That's a really good opportunity to be like, oh, actually, yeah, that's a good idea. Oh, yeah, and sort of kind of workshop a couple of questions. But what I found a part of the mastermind is like the one-on-one calls with you that we can book in when it suits us. So that's just so helpful. I have found like allocating that time, like, because I guess our situation was a little bit different because like we used to talk as friends and co-business owners all the time, but obviously when you have those discussions, it's two-way because that's what a friendship and a call should be. It's not all going to be all about you. But now that I was like, no, I want to be a part of this team, and so when we have our like one-on-one business calls, it's like just sort of me being like, this is all the things that I'm struggling with right at the moment. Like how like what do you think with your experience to help me move forward? And I think having a coach who's like been through what I'm currently going through, whether it's during like duration or size of business or, not issues, but like situations with my team. And that has really helped me, um, yeah, just kind of feel more confident in the choices that I'm making, or challenge me in a way that I hadn't intended them before, or like I've got big ideas, and to just kind of have the confidence of Jen being like, I feel like this is the right step for you. Like, there's still things we need to kind of follow up on. Um, it just sort of gives me the confidence and the like uh like a roadmap for what I need to do to get there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's good for me to hear because, as I said at the beginning, this is basically what I wanted. And so this is what I want in a mastermind. And so it's good that that is the case. Could you walk us through like a typical month of how the mastermind works in with your business, and what do you enjoy about that process?
Okay, you will have to correct me because I also have a terrible memory, which is fantastic. So what I do love is Jen's reminder emails about when things are coming up and what I need to book into my calendar. That really helps me out. So I put them in my calendar straight away so I don't miss out. There's always like that kind of group hot seat call that I mentioned. And I think the last one we had was more of like a quarter in review. So it was like a bit more of a wider reflection, but we do sort of generally, it might be month to month, like what's coming up for you, what was a challenge, what was a win, that. And then the hot seat element is like, 20-ish minutes of you being the focus and everyone trying to help you through something that you're going through, which is really great. We often have a guest speaker or presenter, which is really interesting to hear, potentially, someone very specific in whether it be, I forget the other person's name, but like, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's someone who's really like an expert in their industry, to kind of come on and talk about business ownership or something particular with us. That's really good. And then, like I mentioned before, the one-on-ones we can book. Is it one a week, roughly?
Yeah,
Yeah.
anytime.
So
Yeah.
I probably only maybe do 3 a month, but then some months probably 4. So I try and book those in though, so that I don't get to the end of the month and go, oh, I've not used that service. So that's sort of a typical month.
Beautiful.
Did I miss anything?
No, you're spot on. You're doing great.
Yay.
Uh, what advice would you give to someone who may be struggling to, that balance that we all talk about with
Mm.
the life and business responsibilities, which, okay, there isn't really a balance, but there's a blend of some sort. What advice would you give to someone, because you are literally doing it every day? You have a young toddler. You're a wife, you're a daughter. So, you're sort of in the thick of it. And how's the mastermind helped you find that balance, do you think?
Well, I think like I always sort of have the intentions of taking time out to spend everyone's heard work on your business, not always in your business. And like I always have intentions of doing that. But mostly for me as well, the reason why I sign up for mastermind, or this mastermind, or like a business group in general, is so that I just have this time. And like I'm essentially like, you're paying to be a part of a group, which you're learning so much from, and that's fantastic. But also then it's like purposeful, carved out time in my week where I'm focusing on the business. And whether that week only be 1 hour, or over the month, it might be like, between 4 and 10 hours or 12, like whatever it ends up being, it's just specific time I'm spending on working and growing my business. And often after we have these calls, then I sort of go and think, and it sort of helps me set up for the next month or quarter or year ahead. So, to come back to your question, how does it help me balance it? Like I said, I'm not the best at just remembering or scheduling. So I just put it in my calendar as soon as I get the information or reminder, or I think it was between us, we have like a set time, but that also is something that I honestly couldn't tell you what time we meet. So, I just put it in my calendar, that time's blocked out, and then, that's when I focus on the business.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, it's one of those questions that is asked by a lot of different studio owners, particularly those with families. And I don't think there's no right or wrong.
Oh, do you
Um,
mean in terms of like, oh, is joining a mastermind, is it like too much to fit into or my already busy schedule? Is that something that people worry about, do you think?
maybe that wasn't where I
Okay.
was going with that
Oh,
question, but that, I mean, definitely, because it is another thing to add in. But
so like,
yeah, tell
for
me.
example, like you mentioned, like I have a busy toddler. Like I try and purposefully book our one-on-one calls on days where she's at daycare or with my mum so that I can focus. But there has been calls I have been on because she's been sick or whatever, and I've just had myself on mute with my AirPods in, like sort of half watching Bluey, like with her kind of like, and everyone's just really accepting in sort of the day or the position that you're in. So like whilst like this conversation right now is just blissful, like there is no one bothering me. Like I'm just sitting here with sort of my cold coffee, but like this is focused time that we can chat. Sometimes like life gets in the way. Like you get sick or your kid gets sick and they're there. But I think that, as long as you're not in like bed dying, like you can sort of jump in and sort of be as present as you can be. So I think that's really cool too, to have like a group of people who, understand that. And, they're all, our group is all women, but and in very various states of their lives.
Life. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, no, that's a great answer. Thank you. All right, finally, I'll just ask one last question. What would you say to someone who is possibly considering applying for the mastermind, but maybe is a little bit hesitant or unsure?
Well, you should do it. That's the first thing that I would recommend. Um, just apply because then if you're, and that's also one thing I spoke to you about at the start. I said, like, I don't want to be like, this is, it might sound harsh for some people, but I said this to you. I said, I don't want to be a part of the group if you don't think I'm going to be like challenged or the right fit, or if I'm going to hold other people back. Like, I don't want to be a part of that group. So you should just be honest with me and it doesn't offend me. And that's so fine. And I think that if people are not sure, they should just apply. And then Jen, in a really lovely way, will say, like, I think this group is great for you, or, it might not be the right fit. You might want to wait for a little bit longer, or there might be something else that Jen can do for you to sort of customize what you might need. So I think there's no harm in applying. It doesn't lock you in. You don't have to like sign away your like life or anything. It's very, yeah, and you can get as much out of it as you put in. So, if you're wanting a more casual sort of approach, like you still sort of should, I think, be at the calls every month. But, like you said, like the mastermind we're in, I can book one-on-ones every week if I wanted. So that's sort of getting a lot of time and focused energy on my business. But for other people, I don't know, they might not book in as much as I do. But I think in conclusion, you should do it because Jen's awesome. The people that sort of are gravitated towards her are awesome. And yeah, that's it.
Great. Well, and you are super close to hitting some pretty amazing financial goals as
Yes,
well,
that's my next.
which, yeah, and and something to be really proud of. And it's sometimes a bit of a taboo topic to talk about the money that we earn, but
Mm.
it shouldn't be. It should be celebrated, and
Mm.
you should be like ridiculously proud of yourself with how
Thank you.
fast you have got to where you are. Just even in the last 8 months, just seeing where you were to where you are now is incredible.
Mm.
And, I'm hopefully we are part of that journey and part of the reason you're at
Definitely.
those results. But yeah, super, you were so inspiring to
Oh,
many, including myself. You inspire me as well. So yeah, so thank you very much for taking the time. Now, can I just finish with one last question?
oh yes.
And this is just purely out of interest for
Mm-hmm.
me, who at the moment is inspiring you? And this could be podcasts, this could be YouTube, this could be just
Um,
online. Who's capturing you? Because that's how I find a lot of connections when other
mm.
people suggest them, and then I start looking into them. So I'd love to know.
This is like potentially quite niche because um she's not like, well, she's definitely in our industry. So for those who don't know, I also have a podcast, and I interviewed her just the other day. Her name's Jessie Byrne, and she is a dance studio owner in Sydney-ish area. I should know, but the coast.
Central Coast.
Region.
Yep.
Central Coast. Thank you. And she owns JB Dance, an amazing dance studio in that area. And I've followed her for years. Like I think I said to her on our interview, like I met her like I think 8 years ago now at an ATOD conference on the Gold Coast. Like it was so long ago. So I started following her just because she was a really nice person. And yeah, just sort of we sort of always like she was always sort of a few steps ahead of me in terms of business and like had kids before me. So it was always interesting to kind of see how that unfolds. And she shares a lot about how she like manages it and her life and everything like on her socials. So I kind of following along, kind of staying up to date, even though she probably like has, well, she knows who I am because I spoke to her yesterday. But before then, I was like just like watching and like, oh, cool. And yeah, she's really inspiring me at the moment. Just like a really like a specific person, just has a really massive dance studio, and then 3 young kids, and also like it started a Pilates studio, and like just all of this stuff. And it boggles my brain how she fits it all in. So that's like a really niche person. She doesn't even have like something for dance, but like you could follow her just on socials just for you, like anyone listening would probably find her inspiring, and I find her like entertaining as well, like because she shares good content.
Yeah. Well, I know who you're talking about, and little side note, she might be speaking at our conference in July too. So,
well, I don't want to say that I thought it would be a good idea, but I think I said
it. You may or may not have. I don't know. I'm not confirming or denying.
No.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate your time that you've given us today. And I hope people have got a lot out of what you have to offer. And of course, you can follow Claire. She's on socials. She's at Assemblée
Dance Studio. Assemblée Dance Studio Coaching on Instagram. And you can find that if you search on podcast as well.
Beautiful. See, I should have just let you talk about it.
That's fine. All right. It's a long handle.
It's all good. Thank you so much. I'll chat with you soon.
Get ready to be inspired and challenged by some of the most innovative and forward-thinking experts in the industry. Our speakers and thought leaders bring a unique perspective and a wealth of knowledge that will help you take your business to the next level. No matter where you are in your business journey, whether you are just starting out or you are striving to reach that coveted $1 million mark, the Business of Dance Conference is designed to empower you with the knowledge and confidence you need to transform your studio into the thriving business you've always dreamed of. Get ready to unlock new potentials, new possibilities, and gain fresh insight with like-minded professionals who are just as passionate about your success as you are. Tickets are now on sale, so make sure you grab them before they run out. I will leave a link below, and I can't wait to see you there.